All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's class, or good evening if you're tuning in from Canada or the US. In today's class, we're going to be focusing on the superficial front line and the superficial back line. So this comes from Thomas Meyer's Anatomy Trains. It's a whole book around the fascia in our body, and if you don't know what fascia is, it's basically like connective tissue, kind of like a spider web that goes through the whole system of the body. So we have one line of fascia known as the superficial front line, and we have another line of fascia known as the superficial back line. So obviously the superficial front line's on the front, and the superficial back line's on the back. And the superficial front line goes all the way from your toes, up the front of the shin, up the front of the thigh, all the way to your AIIS, your anterior inferior iliac spine, which is basically your hip. And then it also continues from your pubic bone all the way up the front of your body, across the sternum, across the SCM, the sternocleidomastoid, which is a neck muscle, up to the mastoid process, which you can kind of is basically on the side of the skull/jaw region. So it's this whole front line. And due to how we move in our culture, in our society, and as a species, our superficial front line generally tends to get pulled downwards. So it gets pulled downwards, and as a result, the superficial back line gets long. So this brings me to this idea. It's a beautiful image, and I actually got it from Annie Carpenter. I'm not sure if you'll remember this, Heather. But imagine your body as if it's doing continental drift. So drifting of the continents is when continents move. So superficial front line's one continent, and today as we move through our practice, I want you to envision as if your superficial front line is moving up. And when the superficial front line moves up, the superficial back line automatically moves down. So as we flow today, if you can have this image of your front line growing upwards and your back line growing downwards. And we'll kind of play with the superficial front line and the superficial back line because they go hand in hand. And in order to really begin to impact these lines of fascia, we need to focus more on pure flexion and extension. So moving forward and backwards. Forwards, oh, I love you so much. And backwards, oh, no, thank you. I talked a little bit about this yesterday in the stretch class, which we had technical issues on again, but it's okay. There's a word in yoga known as nirodha, and nirodha translates as stopping, ceasing, quietening, restraining. Those are all synonyms. And in the context of yoga, nirodha is most popularly known as the ability to quiet the mind. As the ability to quiet the mind. So nirodha can translate as the ability to quiet something, to shush. And I think it's really important as yoga practitioners to not think, oh, yoga is stopping my thoughts, or yoga is quietening my mind. Nirodha is not the act of actually quietening something. Nirodha happens organically when you focus your mind on one thing. So when your mind is completely focused on one thing, like I am completely focused on all of you right now, the mind naturally does nirodha as a result. So nirodha is not an act in and of itself. It's an organic reaction, an organic process that happens when you focus your mind on one thing. So as we practice today, and if we can keep our mind focused on our breath or on our body, what will happen organically is nirodha, the quietening of the mind. So we don't have to be like, oh, in my practice, I have to focus on quietening my mind. No, just focus on breath or one thing, and your mind will naturally quieten. Let's start on our mats. Can you find a comfortable seat? And close your eyes. Take a deep inhale into your body. And a full exhale. If yoga is the practice of calming the mind, and it involves nirodha, then yoga is not the act in of itself of forcefully quietening the mind. Yoga is the practice of using techniques to focus our mind on, and as a result, the mind will naturally quieten. So as you sit here, can you focus your mind on your breath? And that ability to concentrate or focus on one thing will naturally invite nirodha. Can you take 3 more breaths? Then gently blink your eyes open. Place your right hand on your chest and your left hand on your sacrum, which is kind of the triangular bone more towards the base of the spine. So kind of around the bum flesh area. Lift your chest up into your right hand. So the chest, the sternum, lift upwards into the right hand. The superficial front line of the torso grows long. Good. And then with your back hand, the left hand, can you press the skin of the sacrum region of your bum flesh downwards? And as you push that bum flesh downwards, you create more space on the back line. Front line lifts up. Back line descends down. Inhaling, finding length on the front. Exhale, finding the descending energy of the back. And take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, twist towards the left. See if you can place the left palm so it's on the sacrum. And one more time, inhale, lift the chest up into the right hand. Exhale, twist, and press the skin of the sacrum down. And come back through center. And another side, left hand on your chest. Right hand on your sacrum. Inhale, lift the chest up into the left hand. And exhale, just press the sacrum down. And one more time. Inhale, get tall through your chest. And notice that when you lift your chest up, you tend to create a little bit of a back bend that can be balanced by you sending your sacrum down. Okay? And then begin to take a full breath in and twist to the right on the exhale. Inhale, getting tall through the chest. Exhale, sending the sacrum bone down. One more time. Inhale, get taller. Exhale, twist. And then come back through center. Great. Please make your way right back into downward facing dog pose. Downward dog. And just take 5 breaths to do whatever feels good in downward facing dog pose. So whatever feels good for you. Thanks, Maud. I'm happy you like my tights. I was not going to wear them. I was just going to wear some normal black shorts. But Joe bought these for my birthday like 3 years ago. And I haven't worn them that much. So I was like, you know what? I'll wear them today. Downward dog. Can you take 3 more breaths to do whatever feels good? Bending one knee at a time, lifting a leg. Okay, and then please come to a place of relative stillness in your downward facing dog. push your hands forward and down into the ground. So downward dog is not a resting pose, it's a strongly engaged asana. So can you push the hands forward and down, almost like you're trying to push your hands through the floor. And as the hands push forward and down, you'll notice your shoulders come up to your ears a little. Can you allow that to happen? But keep your head right between your arms. Wrap the outer shoulders back, spin the inner biceps forward. And as you push the hands forward and down, try to drive the tops of your thighs, right near your hips, back and up towards the sky. So the hands push forward and down for you to send the tops of your legs near your hips back and up. And at the center, just gently draw your front lower ribs in. Take one more full inhale and a complete exhale. Please come forward to plank pose. Stack your shoulders right over your wrists. Now, a little disclaimer, we're gonna be here for a little bit, so if your wrists are sensitive, please feel free to come onto your elbows and forearms. Okay? Shoulders right over your wrists. Nirodha, the mind will naturally quiet the more you focus your attention on one thing. Nirodha happens organically when you're focused on one thing. So if your mind begins to wander and you start thinking lots of thoughts like, gosh, maybe I'll just turn this off and I'll just go back to bed. It's a good indicator that you're not completely focused on one thing. The more focused you are, the more the mind is naturally quiet. Okay, we'll be here for about another 10 more breaths, and I want you to focus on this idea of continental drift. Imagine everything from your belly button up, moving forward towards the front of the room. From your belly button up through the sternum, up through the collarbones and the chest and the neck, reaching forward. And at the same time, on your back, you're pulling the shoulder blades down the back. You're lengthening your sacrum back towards your heels. And at the center of all this, you got to pull the belly in and move the abdomen away from the ground so you're not collapsing into the lower back. Just 5 more breaths. You've got this. Cher can do a 5-minute plank. If she can do 5 minutes, then we can definitely do approximately 1 minute and 30. Center of the chest reaches forward. Shoulder blades pull down the back. Your sacrum and your tailbone lengthen back to your heels. Draw the lower ribs in. Pull the belly in. Take one more deep inhale. Chest forward. Shoulders down the back. And exhale, lower all the way to your belly. Well done. Come onto your fingertips. Place your hands just about a foot out to the side. Maybe slightly forward. Tent your hands like they're big huntsman spiders, fingertips on the ground. Inhale, press down into the fingertips, lift your chest. Draw the shoulder blades back. Pull the center of the chest forward. So we're opening the superficial front line. From your belly button, up through the front of the core, through the front of the ribs, across the sternum. Pull your chin slightly in towards your throat, and then let your skull lean a little bit back. Pull your shoulders back behind you, and then very gently just drop your chin a little towards your chest, but keep your head back. Take 3 more breaths. Keep your pubic bone pressing down. 2. 1 last breath in. Exhale, lower your pelvis or your chest to the ground. Cobra pose, hands are beside your lower ribs. Loop the shoulders up. Draw your shoulder blades down the back. So you have continental drift on the back body. Inhale, begin to lift your chest. You have continental drift on the front. The chest lifts and moves forward. The shoulder blades pull down and back. Take 1 more inhale. Can you get your chest a little higher? And exhale, press back. Child's pose. Bum towards your heels. Take a full breath into your body. And a full breath out. And please come forward to all fours. Downward facing dog pose. Push the hands forward and down. Send the tops of your thighs back and up. Keep your head right between your arms. Wrap the outer shoulders back. Take one more deep inhale. And a full exhale. And please step your right foot forward between your hands. Spin your back heel flat so it's at a 45-degree angle. Roughly 45 degrees with the back foot. Okay, now if that doesn't work for your back knee or ankle or your back hip, then just keep the heel lifted in the lunge. Bend into your front knee. And reach both hands back, arrowhead position. As the hands stretch back, lift your frontal hip points up off of your right thigh. Keep the chest broad. The back of the head level with the spine. And again, can you find that continental drift? So from your belly button, up across the front of your ribs, across your sternum bone, your breastbone, across the front of your neck, all of that moves forward and up on the same diagonal as the back leg. It's a diagonal line of energy that moves forward and up towards the ceiling. Continental drift, moving upwards on the front body. And then on your back body, draw your shoulders down the back. As the shoulders pull down the back, put one hand on your sacrum. It doesn't matter which one. Send your butt flesh back and down towards your left heel. And notice that when you do that, it lifts your frontal hip points up. Keep drawing the front lower ribs in. Deep inhale into the body. Exhale, can you go a little lower in the legs? Inhale, reach both arms overhead, biceps level with your ears. Turn the palms up to the sky. Lift those arms so they're level with your ears. Pull your lower ribs in. Take one more full inhale. Exhale, both hands come to the ground. Step back, downward dog. Take a steady breath into your body. And a steady breath out. Pivot your right foot out about 45 degrees. Step your left foot forward. Again, if the warrior one stance doesn't quite work for the back foot, then just keep the heel lifted for a lunge. Take both hands straight back behind you. Arrowhead position. Good. From your belly button, across the front line of the body, can you let that move forward and up? Like your chest opens, the collarbones broaden. There's this feeling of lifting upwards across the front of your body. At the same time, can you draw your shoulder blades down the back? Put one hand on your sacrum bone and send that sacrum bone down and back towards the right heel. So it's like you're pushing the bum flesh down. And if you do that effectively, your frontal hip points will lift. Your abdomen will tone a little more. Keep the depth in the legs. Can keep both hips turning in the same direction, forward and slightly down. Can keep both shoulders facing down. Inhale, both arms reach overhead. Stay low in the front leg. Turn the biceps up, turn the palms up. Get those arms level with your shoulders. Notice if you're breaking at the ribs, pull the front low ribs in. Take one more deep inhale. Can you go lower in the legs? Exhale, both hands come down towards the ground. Step back, plank pose. Take a full breath in plank. Exhale, chaturanga, slow. Please push right back up, plank pose. Inhale. Good, look back at your feet. Point your toes back so you're now on the tops of your feet. Both toes are pointing straight back. Look towards your belly button. Draw the belly button in towards the spine. Draw the abdomen in towards the spine. Keep pushing the tops of your feet down so the legs are lifting away from the floor. Keep looking at your belly button. Keep pulling it in. As you pull the belly button in, begin to let your chest move forward. Begin to let your heart open towards the front. Let your pelvis begin to soften towards the floor. Keep pulling the shoulders back as you bring your chest forward, coming towards upward dog pose. Shoulders back, chest forward, thighs lifting. So the front of your body moves forward and up. The back of your body, the shoulder blades move down. The sacrum lengthens back. So the pubic bone comes a little more forward. Keep pressing the tops of the feet down. Take one more inhale. Downward facing dog pose, full exhale. Take a steady breath into your body and a steady breath out. 2 more breaths. One last deep inhale and a full exhale. Bend your knees, look forward, walk or step to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, get long. Exhale, fold over your legs, release your head. Inhale, reach both hands all the way up towards the sky, reach tall. Exhale, hands to your chest. Inhale, reach both hands up. Exhale, fold over your legs all the way down. Slow and steady. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. As you take upward dog, continental drift on the front. Let the chest move forward and up. Let the shoulder blades pull down and back. Downward facing dog pose, full exhale. Steady breath in. Steady breath out. Eyes, can you let them be focused on one point? So again, the more you concentrate your mind on one thing, nirodha happens organically. The quietening of the mind happens naturally when the mind is focused on one thing. Take one more deep inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Hands all the way up towards the sky. Deep inhale, reach up. Hands to your chest, exhale. And bend your knees, sit your bum, Utkatasana. Inhale. Pause, sit your bum down and back. Reach the arms forward and up. So can you find that continental drift? Let the front of your body lengthen forward and up. At the same time, sit the sacrum down and back. Stretch the arms forward and up. Roll the outer shoulders forward. Can go a little bit lower. Go into the fire. Don't run from it. Embrace the fire. Take one more inhale. Lift the arms. Lower the pelvis. Exhale, fold over the legs. Halfway lift, inhale. Step or jump, chaturanga, exhale. Upward dog or cobra, inhale. Downward dog pose, exhale. Pivot the left heel, step the right foot forward. Inhale, warrior one breath. Exhale, hands come back down. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pivot the right heel, left foot steps forward. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, right back to the ground. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Steady breath into the body. Steady breath out. 4 more breaths. Eyes are focused on one place. The hands are always pushing forward and down. You know, if you know how to push very strongly through your hands, that's a skill that you need for press to handstands.
So downward dog, there's always a push. There's always a wrapping of the outer shoulders back. So your inner biceps turn a little forward. Always a pushing through the inner hand. Take one more full inhale. Exhale all your air. Bend your knees, look forward, step or jump forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Bend your knees, sit your bum nice and low. Utkatasana, inhale. Let's stand up, Samastiti, exhale. Once more, bend your knees, sit your bum nice and low, Utkatasana. Fold belly to thigh, exhale. Halfway lift, get long. Step or jump, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Pivot the left heel, step the right foot forward. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1, one breath. Exhale, all the way back down to the ground. Chaturanga. Let the chest pull forward and through, upward dog. Downward facing dog pose. Pivot the right heel. Left foot steps forward. Warrior 1. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, come right back down. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Step your feet together like they're one tree trunk. Come onto your tippy toes, lift your heels nice and high. Inhale, lift your right leg back and up. Keep both hips facing down. And exhale, step your right foot only about 2 feet forward. So it's kind of in the middle of the mat, underneath your lower ribs. Lift your left leg up. Come onto your right tippy toes. Option 1, just stay here. Get that left leg up as high as we'll go. Try to lean more weight into your hands. Push the floor away. Stay here, or if it's in your practice, kick up, handstand. 5 hops. Kick. 4. If you're in handstand, try to hold it. 3. Keep pushing the floor away. Get that left leg up a little higher. 2. Try to get both legs up towards the sky if you can. 1 last breath in. Switch legs. Left foot steps forward. Right foot steps back. Warrior 1 pose. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, interlace your hands, palms down on your front thigh. Bend into your front knee deeply. Push your hands down against your left thigh and lift your frontal hip points up. Lengthen your sacrum bone down. Keep going low in the legs. Keep lifting the frontal hip points up. Stay anchored through the back foot. Reach both hands straight back, arrowhead position. Try and maintain all that work we just did. Front of the body lengthening forward and opening. Back body, shoulder blades and sacrum lengthening down towards your back heel. Stay this low, just like the beginning of class. Reach both arms overhead so your torso is on a diagonal. Arms are stretching overhead. Keep low in the legs. Keep the lower ribs pulled in. Without breaking at the ribs, keep the depth on the legs and slowly begin to lift the torso upright, coming to full Virabhadrasana 1. Go lower in your legs. Can you get both hips working towards the front of the mat? Stretch the arms up to the sky. Bring your hands together slightly in front of you, and then try to reach your hands straight up towards the sky. Turn your eyeballs to look up towards the hands. Go lower in the legs. Pull the front lower ribs in. Take one more full inhale. Find the depth in the legs, the lift up through the arms. Let the chest lengthen upward. Push down through your back foot. Take one more inhale. Exhale, hands float back beside your lower ribs. Come onto your back tippy toes. Shift forward, lean forward, lift the back leg up. Keep both hips facing down towards the floor. Let the center of your chest move forward. Let your shoulder blades and sacrum move back. Straighten that back leg. Straighten the back knee. Inhale, reach both arms overhead. Full warrior 3. Hold for 5. Keep your breath steady. Hold for 4. Breathe. Lift the arms up. Hold for 3. You've got this. Focus. 2. One last deep breath in. Exhale, both hands to the ground. Step back, plank pose. Take a full breath in plank. Chaturanga. Upward dog or cobra, inhale. Downward facing dog pose, full exhale. Step your feet together. Come up onto your tippy toes, lift your heels. Lift your left leg back and up, keep both hips facing down. Step your left foot only 2 feet forward, just underneath your lower ribs. Good, lift your right leg up to the sky. Come onto your left tippy toes if you can manage. I know it's a little awkward. Push through the hands. Option 1, just stay here, okay? You don't have to go any further if you don't want to. Stay here. Work on your upper body strength and your hip strength. Option 2, you know, kick up, handstand. Hold for 5. Can you keep your breath steady? 4, keep pushing the floor away, breathe. 3, can you embody that sense of focus? 2, maybe both legs up towards the sky. And you're going to switch legs. Right leg steps forward now. Left foot steps back. Pivot the back heel, warrior 1, come all the way up. Exhale, interlace hands, palms down on your front thigh. Bend into your front knee. With your hands, push that right thigh bone down. Lift your frontal hip points up. Push the thigh bone down. Lift the frontal hip points up. Good. Lift your chest up. Keep the collarbones broad. Let your sacrum bone lengthen down towards your left heel. Reach both hands back, arrowhead position. Go lower into your legs. Keep all of that work. Don't avoid the fire. A vinyasa practice, an asana practice needs to have some fire. Can you embrace it? Stay this low. Keep the low ribs pulled in, the frontal hip points lifted. Reach both arms overhead. You're still on that diagonal line. Arms, torso, back leg on the same diagonal line. Push down through your back foot. Stretch the arms overhead. Wrap the outer shoulders forward and down. Pull the low ribs in. Keep your low ribs contained as you slowly begin to lift the torso up to vertical now. Go a little low in the legs. Bring the hands slightly in front of you. Bring the palms to touch. Stretch the fingertips up. Now try to bring the arms more vertical. Keep your low ribs pulled in. Push the back foot. Bend into your front knee. Look up. 2 more breaths. Breathe. Work the chest to face forward. Work the thighs so the hips face forward. 1 more full inhale. Exhale. Hands back beside the hips. Lean forward. Shift forward. Lift the back thigh up off the ground. Can you get both hips to face the floor? Lift the chest. Both hips face down. Can you keep both hips facing down? Chest forward, back thigh straight. Inhale, both arms overhead. You can do it. Hold for 5. Lift those arms up. Hold for 4. Try your best. Breathe. Hold for 3. 2. Lift the arms, lift the back leg. 1 more breath. Both hands down, step back, plank pose. Take a full breath in plank. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward dog or cobra. Downward facing dog pose, full exhale. Take a steady breath in and a steady breath out. Well done. Please take your knees down. Grab a block. Put your hands around a block. If you don't have a block, don't worry about it. Just put your hands on the ground. If you have really tight shoulders, probably be benefit to interlace your hands together. It's a little easier than the block. Tuck your toes, lift your knees off the ground, come into dolphin pose. Okay, option 1 in dolphin, just stay here. Option 2, walk your feet in a little bit more, lift your right leg up, stay there, or kick up, pincha mayurasana. Can you hold for 5, 4, can you keep your breath steady? 3, breathe. 2, good. 1 last breath in. Good. And then the feet come down. Good. Step your right foot forward. Left knee is back. Inhale, reach both hands up. Exhale, hands to your chest. Twist towards the right. Palms together. Tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee up off the ground. As you bend into your right knee, keep pressing your left thigh up. Keep turning the chest to the right. Take 3 more breaths. Deep inhale. Full exhale. 2. Deep breath in. Full breath out. 1 last deep inhale. Lean the torso back. Let the center of your chest move forward. Shoulders down the back. And both hands come down. Switch sides. Left foot steps forward. Right knee comes down. Inhale, both hands up. Exhale, twist. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee up off the floor. So same continental drift here. Front of your body, from your navel to your chest moves forward, shoulders and everything move down the back. Press that back thigh up. Turn the chest to the left. Take 3 more breaths. Deep inhale. Full exhale. 2. Good. 1 last deep breath in. And exhale, both hands down. Step back, downward dog. Take a steady breath into your body. And a full breath out. Drop your knees to the ground. Grab your block again if you have one. Otherwise, elbows and forearms just on the ground. Tuck your toes, lift your knees off the ground, dolphin pose. Stay here or walk your feet in. Lift your left leg up. Stay there or kick up. Can you hold for 5 breaths? If you're really comfortable, be relentless with the push through the elbows and forearms. Drive the elbows and forearms down. If you can, look back through the arms so your ears are level with your biceps. Take 3 more breaths. Lower ribs pull in. Regardless of where you are, push the elbows and forearms down. 2 more breaths. Hey, 1 last deep inhale. Complete exhale. All right, come down. Come forward to plank pose. No rest for the beautiful. Plank pose, plank pose. Chest forward, shoulders down the back. Keep your pelvis lifted to the height of your shoulders. The lower ribs pulling in. Take 1 more full inhale. Exhale to your belly, please. Well done. Take both hands back behind you. You can keep them on the ground. Lift your thighs and your legs up off the floor. Lift your chest up off the ground. Lift your hands up off the ground. Okay. So continental drift here is really helpful for back bending. The superficial front line wants to lengthen and open. So lift your chest. Let your breastbone move forward and up. Pull the shoulder blades down the back. Press your pubic bone down so your sacrum can lengthen towards your heels. And then try to lift your legs higher. Try to lift your chest higher. Try to lift your arms higher. Lift the hands off the ground. Let the arms hover. Hold for 5. Lift. 4. Chest lifts. Arms lift. Legs lift. You've got this. Stay focused. 3. Breathe. 2. 1 more deep inhale. Lift it all up. Then exhale, release. Turn your head to one side. Left cheek on the ground. Take a steady breath in and a steady breath out. Switch sides. And inhale, slowly come up. Bend both knees. Reach back, grab onto the tops of your feet or your ankles. Okay, so we're working that superficial front line. We're opening it. Knees stay hip width. Here we go. If you can't grab your feet or your ankles, it's just not working for you today for any reason, then just stay with the previous back bend. 5 breaths, here we go. The chest lifts up, regardless of where you are, chest up. The feet press back. And then maybe the feet lift up and the legs lift up. Hold for 5. Good, 4. 3, with each inhale, can you lift higher? 2, gosh, isn't this so much fun? I used to hate this pose and I'm starting to like it after 13 years. 1 more breath. Inhale, lift a little higher. And then exhale, release. Hands on the ground. Come up to a seated position. Bring your feet right in front of you. So come onto your bum. Feet come right in front. Let's do it. So this won't be accessible for everyone's body, just depending on how much knee flexion you have. So if you have really tight thighs, or you just can't flex your knee that much, you can do a runner's lunge like this, like lizard pose. If your knee is fine, you're going to come to a seated position and tuck the right foot back beside the right hip. So you're in Virasana, half of Virasana. You're going to walk your hands back behind you. Okay. And you're going to lift your pelvis up and lengthen your tailbone and your sacrum forward towards the back, towards the knees. So you create more space in the lower back, drawing the pubic bone towards the face. So we're getting into the superficial front line, which goes across your rec fem, your rectus femoris, the front of your quads there. Yeah, and then maybe come all the way down onto your back. Hands come overhead. Grab elbow to elbow. Keep the low ribs pressing down towards the floor. Take 1 more deep breath in and a full breath out. Good. Elbows on the ground. Press yourself back up. And switch sides. Right leg forward. Left foot comes back. Can you get the left knee right in front of the left hip? Good. Right leg is directly forward from the right hip. Good. And then come down onto your elbows and forearms. Lift your pelvis up and try to lengthen your tailbone more forward, scooping the pubic bone towards the face. And then maybe come down onto your back. Again, if this doesn't work for your knee, then you can do a lizard lunge on the other side. Notice if you're letting the pelvis totally swivel to the right. Try to keep your pelvis, both hip points facing up towards the sky if possible. Elbows grab overhead. Try not to back bend, draw the front lower ribs down and in, just so that we get a little bit more of a release through the left hip flexors. Take 1 more deep inhale and a full exhale. So we've done a lot of superficial front line with the torso, and we're getting a little more into the legs now as well. Bend both knees. Feet are hip distance wide. You're on your back. Okay, so you're totally on your back now. Both knees are bent, feet are on the ground, so like bridge pose. Hands down on either side of your hips. Press down into both feet, lift the pelvis up, bridge. Now, can you keep your knees roughly hip distance wide? Roll the upper inner thighs down. And then lengthen your tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Push your feet down. Push your shoulders down and lift your chest up. Lift the pelvis up. Take 3 more breaths. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Can there be a steadiness to your concentration? Eyes are focused on one place. 2 more breaths. Good. 1 last deep breath in. Push the feet down. Push the shoulders down. Lift everything up. Keep the knees hip width. And then slowly roll your spine bone by bone to the ground. Take a moment to pause. Continuing on with the back bends, option to stay with bridge. So now we're going into the whole superficial front line. We're lengthening across the front of the quads. We're going all the way up from the belly, through the torso, opening the front of our chest. Okay. Option to stay with bridge or hands up beside your ears. Lift your pelvis, please. No need to rush. Keep your knees hip width. Maybe come to the top of your head. Maybe straighten your arms, come all the way up. And hold for 5. Can you keep your breath steady? 4, push the hands and feet down. 3, keep hugging the knees in to hip width. 2, maybe 1 last deep breath in. And out, slowly roll your spine bone by bone to the ground. Take a moment to pause. Observe how your body feels. We'll take 2 more back bends. Option to stay with bridge. So at any point you're like, oh, this is enough for me, then just stay with bridge. But I find with back bends, the more you do them, the more the body gets used to them. But if you're feeling a little bit of sensitivity and it doesn't feel appropriate to keep going, then just stay with bridge, okay? Set yourself up, lift the pelvis, please. Maybe place your hands up beside your ears. Maybe come to the top of the head and then push back up. 5 breaths. Can you keep your breath steady? If it's comfortable, maybe begin to push more through the hands and the feet, working the legs a little more straight. 3 more breaths. Breathe. Can you allow yourself to breathe deeply? 2, be kind with yourself. If it's too much, come down. 1 last deep inhale. And then exhale, slowly release down towards the ground. Again, take a moment to pause. Let your knees knock together. Hands maybe on your belly. Close your eyes. Take a moment to breathe. A moment to check in. Well done. Last back bend. For this last back bend, we're going to do, we'll go up, we'll come back down to our head, we'll walk our hands in a little closer, and then press back up. So it's the option to take it a little bit deeper if that feels appropriate to you. If not, please stay with bridge. You can still keep building strength and a little bit of fire by doing bridge pose, okay? Hands down beside your hips if you're doing bridge. Lift the pelvis. Otherwise, hands beside your ears. Come to the top of the head. Please push up into full Urdhva Dhanurasana. Good. Then take your head down a little closer to your feet. Then walk your hands in. Good. Then push back up, full Urdhva. Breathe. Push through both feet, push through both hands. 4 more breaths. 3, 2, 1 last deep inhale. And slowly roll your spine bone by bone down to the ground. Take your feet mat distance wide. Let your knees knock together. Place your hands on your belly.
Take a couple deep breaths into your hands. Please bring your knees so they're over your hips. Your shins are parallel to the floor. And if you're sensitive, you may even already begin to feel your abdomen tone and turn on. The core muscles working to stabilize the spine. Option to interlace the hands behind the head and lift your head and your shoulder blades off the ground. So after opening a lot of the superficial front line with all those back bends, just finding a little bit of gentle containment for a little bit of balance. Keep the shoulder blades off the ground. Hold for 5. Get those shoulder blades off the floor for 4. Try to draw the lower abdomen down and in for 3. 2. Shoulder blades up. Try to stay with it. And then 1. Take your feet back down to mat distance. Let your knees cascade over to the right. Maybe place your right foot on your left knee. Turn your head to look over your left arm. Can you take a steady breath in? And a full breath out. One more time, maybe sighing if that feels good. Deep inhale. Both feet are on the ground now. Bring your knees back up to center. The feet are still mat distance wide. Let both knees fall to the left. Option to place your left ankle on your right knee. Turn your head to look over your right arm. Can you take a really big breath in? Like, go for it. Why not? Deep inhale. Full exhale. Maybe this time you sigh. A deep breath in. Slowly bring your legs back through center. Please cross your right leg over your left leg. Like right over, like you're sitting cross-legged in a chair. Lift your feet up off the ground. Good. Reach forward and grab onto your ankles, or grab onto the outside edges of your feet, coming into reclined Gomukhasana. Both shins, try to get both shins to be at a similar angle. If you're really tight here, that might not be possible, so don't worry. And if this just doesn't work for your body and you'd prefer to do thread the needle pose, then go for it. Regardless of where you are, can you take 3 more breaths? Maybe let your eyes close. Can you let all the muscles in your face relax? And slowly release, switch sides. Left thigh crosses over the right thigh. Come into Gomukhasana by reaching forward and either grabbing onto your ankles or the outside edges of the feet. And if this just doesn't work for you that well, then feel free to do thread the needle. Can you let your face relax? Let your throat relax. Please hug both knees into your chest, give them a big squeeze. And come into Shavasana, corpse pose. And in Shavasana, can you imagine as if your front line is equal to your back line? That the superficial front line of our body can match the superficial back line of our body. And we find a state of equalness, of balance, from front to back. Can you let the feet relax? The hands relax. The belly relaxes. if you'd like to stay here a little bit longer, please feel free to. Otherwise, wiggle your fingers and toes. Take your arms up overhead, give your body a big stretch. Take a deep breath in here. And a full breath out. Bend your knees. Roll onto your right hand side. And gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Palms together in front of the chest. Nirodha is the act of quietening. And nirodha happens organically when our mind is completely focused on one thing. We can calm our mind by focusing it on one thing. Thank you. Namaste.